Malians versus Jushi's Legacy as we jump into game number 1 here on Dry Arabia. To the north, it's DeMu with the Malians in orange, and to the south, it is going to be Lash with Jushi's Legacy playing with the color blue.
Indeed. And we do see a normal kind of Chinese style opening here for Lash as he is going for the straggler tree with his villagers into that mill. It's going to allow him to have a little bit of extra wood here. Enables him to go for an early village early on in the game, which is very nice when it comes to just having that very, very high population cap immediately. For now, both players going out to scout for sheep. DeMu already placing down his pit mine and the houses around it. It's going to get a nice passive boost of gold. There's the village. And yeah, just both players right now playing the standard feudal age. The truly interesting thing that we're going to be seeing here is once Lash gets the resource to go up to the next age, where he's going to be placing that meditation garden, because depending on the placement, he's going to be getting a very, very large delta when it comes to the resource that he can potentially gain with it.
Yeah. For now, his mill is going to be on the front line, and that's definitely an exposed position, something that DeMu could exploit moving forward. But yeah, the other thing I'm looking at is that his gold and stone are pretty close to each other, and I think you could potentially place the meditation gardens such that it also covers some wood, so he might have a decent spot to the south of his town center.
Exactly. It's going to be a question. He could also just move it out quite a bit further out onto the map. There are additional spots that he could go for. There's one to the east of his base where he could be getting both 2 stone mines, some wood, as well as a berry patch. That could be getting him a lot of income there with the meditation garden. It would be like 60 wood, 50 food, and around maybe like 15 wood per minute. That can make a big difference. You can pretty much get a passive second TC out after 4 or 5 minutes with Jushi's Legacy, just from having the passive stone income from 2 stone mines. So far, just further supervision here. Lash getting really close now to the next age. You only need 340 food and 170 gold as Jushi's Legacy, as in the Tang Dynasty, all your landmarks are going to be discounted by 15%. Mansa Quarry now coming in for DeMu with the Malians. It's going to be also a very nice landmark choice here for him, as he's going to be getting 75 stone or 75 gold passively per minute.
Yep, and there come the meditation gardens. I think, is it going to cover the stone, though? It might be a little too far away. We're going to have to look at this aura to see if it actually covers the stone. And it does not.
It does not.
It might
I'm
cover
not sure
the sheep, though.
The sheep don't count. The sheep don't count. It's only berries. Only berries for food.
The bear is obviously too far away, so I'm a little puzzled over here. Probably the best.
It's only going to be wood and gold. It's a very defensive placement, but I think with a landmark like the meditation garden, you can just put it out on the map. You only need a single villager to build it, since your building speed is already quite fast as the Chinese variant civilization. I think in this situation, just based on the spawn, I would have liked to see it either on the east side, or maybe what he could have done is just place it all the way in the corner of his map, in the back of his base, because there he's got like a berry patch, gold, and stone. Even without getting the wood from it, that would have been a better spot. I think my personal priority list for resources gained with the landmark, it has to be food, gold, then stone, then wood. Because if you get a full berry patch, you get like 48 food per minute. It's pretty much a single villager right there, that more than a villager that would be gathering food. And yeah, it's just going to be wood and gold here for him. Not the best placement, I think.
Well, for now, he is getting ready for Song Dynasty here, but on the other side, I think bigger question is how DeMu is going to approach this game. For now, he's taking the slow and steady approach. And never mind, it's not even going to be Song Dynasty. It's just going to be Relic Collection Fast Castle here for Lash. A little dangerous to do if you ask me against the Malians. Malians could play into Warrior Scouts or maybe even just a handful of Javelin Throwers and deny those relics.
Yeah, Javelin Throwers are going to be very strong here, especially since Jushi's Legacy, they only get access to Ryugenu, which don't have the same kind of movement speed that normal archers do. Ryugenu only have 1.12 tiles per second movement speed. Javelin Throwers have the full 1.25 tiles per second movement speed, which makes them very mobile. But at the same time, Lash with Shuri's Legacy also has access to early palace cuts, but it looks like that's not even going to be on the menu here. As when we look at the resources, it looks like it's going to be a very fast castle age now coming out from Lash. That's a sad meditation gun there. Only 66 resource per minute.
Castle Age will be on the way for Lash very soon. DeMu is actually expanding all the way out there for the second pit mine. It's not the closest secondary goal that he's going for, but just goes to show that he knows fully well that Lash won't be putting a lot of pressure on those gold mines, so he can get away with this more exposed position and use the gold mine closer to his base at a later stage.
Lash now using his food villagers to go up with the Shaolin Monastery. I'm not sure how I feel about that, mainly because the Shaolin monks only cost food, so I think he could probably just use the gold villagers just to be able to already have a bunch of food up immediately to be able to make them. But it's going to get rushed up quite quickly, and we're looking at a 6 minute and 20-ish kind of castle age now for Shuri's Legacy. That is very, very fast, and with that, he's also going to be opening with a stable. So might be a very fast Lancer play now coming up from Lash. DeMu behind us, he's not even close to next age. Yeah, like just immediately putting up pressure on the opponent there. It's going to be very nice for him.
It's probably not even the pressure, it's the fact that Malians do have the tools to slow down this Shaolin Monk Relic collection story. So if you have a couple of cavalry units that can escort those monks, that makes it a lot easier for you to start picking those relics up, which, by the way, spawned in a very nice position for Lash. He has quite some relics close to his base. It's fairly even, but the relics are, I think, a little offset towards his side compared to DeMu's.
Buddhist monks coming out so far. Not a unit. There we go. Lancer's now going to be in queue. And look at that Shaolin monk. Just the melee attack so quick with so much base damage. The scout pretty much immediately at half health there.
Wait, where's he going?
He's
that
trying
monk
to
isn't
get
going
the...
for Relic unless he's going all the way to the north. He's actually
no, he's
going to
go
the
for
enemy
aggression.
base.
He's going on to the pit mine.
I think I know what Lash is thinking about. Shaolin monks do not cost you gold. You can afford to produce monks and knights at the same time, and you can shut down the gold income of the Malian player this way. And Malians don't have anything to respond to that with. The monks would be a decent response to the Dunsos, and then you have the Lancers as well. I love this build from Lash.
Yeah, this is looking very, very good right now. It might be that DeMu, if he's not careful about this now, might find himself in like a checkmate situation. Then again, he still has the gold in the back of his base, so it's not going to be checkmate yet. There's still options for him to get gold to be able to go up to next age. And behind all of that, DeMu, he does have out quite a few of the cattle already, so Castle Age, it's not going to be too far off for him now.
Indeed, and he does have the cattle set up, so the Grand Fulani Corral will be a legitimate landmark to go for. Although, given the pressure that he's under, he might actually opt to go for the Farimba garrison. We have seen that from some players in the past. When they're under so much pressure, even though they've set up the cattles for the Grand Fulani Corral, they might feel like there is a need for the alternative landmark, the Farimba garrison. I don't think that's going to be the case for DeMu, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think if DeMu goes for the Farimba, he might just as well call GG, I feel like. Just because, like, all the units that DeMu could make from the Farimba, they're all getting countered by the Shaolin Monk. Donzos get countered, archers get countered, javelin throwers get countered, Musafadis get countered. There's just no real option to mass there. Maybe you could just try to go for mass over quality, quantity over quality. But even then, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, behind this, Lash is also picking up the relics, so this is not all about the aggression for Lash when it comes to using those Shaolin monks. He's also going to capture sacred sites, start picking up relics. He didn't actually yoink the relic inside DeMu's base, though, but he could still be up to 4 very quickly.
Yeah, now he's also going for the Jeanne Tower, so with that, he's going to get access to the Song Dynasty. Probably one of the strongest dynasties right now in the game, as it's going to provide Lash with a 40% wood discount on all non-military buildings. That means his farms, his granaries, his outposts, his houses, all those buildings are going to have a very, very big wood discount on them, meaning that he can get a very nice farm transition in. And with that, like having a strong farm transition with granaries, that is just really, really strong there for the Chinese.
Of course it is. It's something that's going to set you up for long and late game. And we know that the Jushi's legacy as a civilization is a juggernaut when it comes to late game prowess. So for Lash, if he sets up his farming eco, if he's going to be sitting on 4 or 5 relics, That's going to be a great setup to take this game to a later stage and use the most powerful window that Jushi have against any civilization, actually.
And behind that, Lash is also going to go for a second TC. Now, with Song Dynasty, the wood cost also from the second TC gets reduced to only 240 wood. So he's going to be able to get that second TC out nice and quickly. It's also going to be nicely synergizing with the Jeanne and Tower, providing him with a free villager upon completion of that second TC.
Yeah, that's a nice synergy in there. The Shaolin Monk actually could have yoinked the Relic, perhaps. Instead, he's just busy torching down houses. It would have been a journey for this guy to get out of the enemy base with that Relic. But one thing is sure, now that those houses are being torched down and we have a bunch of Dunsos for DeMu, we can pretty much guarantee that Lash won't be having that final Relic for himself.
Yeah, I think he can be happy with 4 relics, 2 sacred sites, about to be 3 sacred sites for him. That's going to be a ton of passive gold income for him. He doesn't even have that many villagers in gold, but he's already at like almost 500 gold per minute. That's definitely going to help him a lot when it comes to grabbing upgrades on his units and overall production. DeMu so far just sticking to the Stonzos, and in mass, they're looking promising. They're looking promising against those Shaolin monks. Shaolin monks, do mind you, you can only make out of the Shaolin monastery. So you're a little bit bottlenecked when it comes to production of these units.
At the same time, it's not like Lash needs those Shaolin monks to do a lot of damage at this point. He's just dragging this game out as we speak. He actually has gotten 3 sacred sites, but he likely won't be able to hold all 3 of those. In fact, given the army numbers, I'd be shocked if he could hold more than 1. But at this point, he's dragging this game out, and he's taking this game to a later stage, which now introduces a new element here for Lash. He needs to start making army to avoid being overrun by the Malians. DeMu now has a very well set up food eco with the Grand Fulani Corral. He does have a very good gold eco, as all Malian players do. So now you gotta stop this counterattack that's going to come in the form of Dunsos, some Sofas as well, maybe some Javelin throwers later on as well.
It looks to be a combination of Sofas and infantry units so far for DeMu. We do see the first Sofa now in queue. Lash is making some... Oh! Some Jugunu. Dunzos with the range attack, able to take out a scout there. That's a lot of Dunzos right now, 23. That's a big army. Lash definitely needs a couple more Jugunu to be able to take a fight there. Also needs to mix in a couple of crossbowmen if he wants to be able to deal with the Sofas. First sacred site gets T-capped now. Units on their way to the second sacred site as well. Looks like DeMu's having units move all the way to all the sacred sites. And this is going to be the point in the game where the Malians truly shine. When they have the cattle economy, tons of food income, and they're just going to be able to pump out all of these food-heavy units. And with that, we're going to be seeing a lot of Sofas here to come very, very soon. Imported armor also coming in. And the Musafadi switch as well. Veteran Musafadi being researched right now.
Yeah, this is, as you said, the greatest window that the Malians have in a game. A well-set-up economy, powerful upgrades like imported armor coming in on the Sofas, support that with Javelin throwers, Musafadi warriors, or Dunsos, and you actually have a very formidable army here. Now, the Jugenu will be able to hold off the Dunsos, but once the Sofas arrive, it's a different story. It's a very different story, actually. So Lash needs to be very cautious not to overextend over here. For now, he's going to be able to hold this, but he also needs to mix in perhaps some crossbows to deal with those Sofas. Otherwise, he's going to risk being overrun by this strong Malian Castle Age force.
Yeah, the Sofas with imported armor have an additional armor when you compare them to knights. And the Jugunu, they have a very, very weak range attack, but they attack 3 times in a row. So the additional armor from the Sofas mean that they're not going to be taking nearly as much damage as any other unit, and with that, yeah, Lash definitely has to add some other unit here. Jugunu do a good amount of damage there to the Dunzos, but it's not going to stay with Dunzos. The Sofas are already up to 7.
Yeah, for now, it's just mass Jugunu, but against the Sofas, they won't perform very well. The key thing here is that Sofas, eventually they'll die to the Jugenu, but they'll just soak up so much arrow fire that allows DeMu's remaining forces to clean up those troops. Having said that, these Sofas are kind of distracted right now by this Lancer, so Lash gets a clear view on the amount of Sofas that DeMu has, and also knows that they are not close to his base and ready to attack.
Yeah, not just that, he also managed to recapture 2 sacred sites with his warrior monk, so gold income is going to go up once again. Instead, DeMu's going to have to decap those. A couple of Dunzos go down here now to the Jugunu. Very nice for Lash, and Lash's food economy now is looking very, very solid. He's also going for a granary transition behind all of this. Once the deer are going to be running out, it's going to be a very fluent transition here for GG's Legacy, with that insane discount that they get on their farms. And that Lash is also making some crossbowmen. If he's able to hold this fight, he's going to be in a very nice position. Some wards coming out as well.
Yeah, these walls will be very beneficial for him, but I'm not sure if they will complete in time. If they do, it's definitely a great buffer, given that DeMu doesn't have any range units, essentially. So, with those walls going up, Lash can buy himself a lot of buffer. DeMu is capturing sacred sites, though. So DeMu could actually start triggering this sacred site countdown and force Lash out of his base eventually.
Exactly.
Flash.
Fight is going to be happening
here.
Crossbows are in, but that's a lot of sofas. 18 sofas, 14 Musafadi warriors. That's a very big army. Lash has to fall back, needs to kite while doing so. This is a tough one, and at the same time, sofas are running into the economy. Splitting of units here by DeMu. Lash's army already lost a lot of units. Could this just be an overrun now?
It very well could be. Chukanu numbers down to 10, crossbow numbers down to 11, and we are looking at raw numbers against the forces of Lash here. Lash is slowly cleaning this one up, but the reinforcements keep coming in. And look at the Sofa numbers. 18 of them on the field, 13 Musafadi warriors as well. You feel like DeMu is increasing his Sofa numbers, not losing them at this pace. Whereas for Lash, his army is just at breaking point at this point. He is now controlling 3 sacred sites as well, DeMu does, and I feel like he's just cleaning up the forces of Lash. This is exactly the window that the Malians want to win in, and that's exactly what's happening right now, you feel.
Yeah, with that raid now on the food economy, Lash is going to be out of food here very, very soon. He's trying to get some stone now. With that, a potential keep drop might help him out, but he's already losing so many villagers, so much idle time as well. He now has less villagers than DeMu, and do mind you that with the cattle, it's like DeMu, he's not at 55 villagers, he's at 75 villagers when it comes to the income. And the Jugunu and the Spearmen, just not enough to hold here.
Yeah, slowly but surely Lash is cleaning up this first wave, but there's a second wave coming up as well still. 7 Sofas on the field with 6 more in queue, a bunch of Musafadi warriors making an appearance. And even if Lash cleans this up, his eco is going to be torn to shreds. He has lost out on so many villagers. He's actually having a lower villager count than a single DC Malian player. He's down to 53 eco. He has a lot of stone though. He needs a defensive keep, but this might come in just a little too late.
It feels like if Lash just got these walls up, like 30 seconds earlier and the front side, this would have been a way, way different game for him. Now, the military from DeMu is just streaming in.
And the same can be said of the defensive castle, I feel. You know that this is probably the most vulnerable window for Jushi against Malians. I feel like if he had a defensive keep a little sooner, obviously he would have had to commit up to stone a little quicker as well, but I feel like a defensive keep could have made it so much more difficult for DeMu to push into his base.
Keep is trying to get rushed up, tons of villagers on there, but DeMu, he's just focusing villagers. He just wants to kill the economy from Lash, and he's doing so successfully. A lot of villagers are going to be going down. Keep, though, it's getting rushed up. Units from Lash are killing the units here from DeMu, but he's down to 40 villagers compared to 60.
It's gotta be over here. 37 villagers only. And this keep isn't going to protect all these villagers nearby. The Sofas just ignore the keep at this point. Lash is down to 42 population. And Crackedy, we've gotten our answer. Jushi could not take down the Malians over here. Lash had 4 relics, that definitely helped a lot. But this devastating counterattack that we so often see from the Malians is something that Lash had no answer to.
DeMu's doing it to him. Look at the large wall going up there, being built by like 15 villagers. Even if, yeah, Lash has to call it at this point in time. Even if he managed to break out, DeMu would have just walled him with stone walls, and then the sacred side timer would have come in. That was such a close game, though. I feel like if Lash just walled that, he would have been able to hold with all of his ranged units, and in the end, DeMu just managed to overwhelm him there. So many villager kills, and with that, game number 1 goes over to DeMu.
Again, this is one of those matchups where you have the old versus the new, the old juggernaut, the Malians those are, against the new civilization, trying to dethrone them, trying to be a counter pick to the Malians, but things just didn't work out for Lash in the second part of this game. The build-up was just a lot more rapid from DeMu, and Lash struggled to put out sufficient numbers to deal with this.
Exactly. Was still like a very, very good showing here for Juju's Legacy. I feel like just that very fast Castle Age kind of play and the execution on it looked very solid there for Lash. One thing though that I want to go over again, that meditation garden, that was sad. That was a sad one. Seeing 66 resources per minute on a meditation garden after having seen like up to 180 resources on one just the other day, definitely not the best meditation garden out there. The landmark has so much potential sometimes. I think you can definitely just walk out onto the map and drop it somewhere else with a single villager. It's definitely fine to do that because you can just you can rush it up so quickly with that faster creation speed from Shushi's Legacy.
And with that, we are getting ready for game number 2. It is going to be on Thickets, Japanese versus the Rus over here. Rus, of course, a juggernaut when it comes to hybrid maps, but Japanese, by no means a pushover. Discount on the fishing boats, potential for land aggression with, let's say, an Uma Bannerman as well. A lot of options available for the Japanese to take down the Rus here. This time around, it's going to be DeMu with the new civilization and Lash with the old powerhouse.
Yeah, the Rus. We talked about it earlier. Probably one of the strongest civilizations on these hybrid maps. Now, Japanese, they're also no slouch there. They can go for a very, very fast feudal age. We've seen it earlier coming up from Myriad. You only need roughly 5 villagers on wood to be able to constantly produce fishing ships out of your docks because they only cost 45 wood each. And with that, it means that Japanese can go for very fast feudal age and be able to somewhat keep up with the very fast feudal ages that we see coming out of the Rus. Now, actually, a funny little interaction here that I'm just thinking about. The Japanese, they do want to go for the Koka Township with the Shinobis on hybrid maps. Now, the Rus, they already have their ships out that they can transform. So they're not really gonna be in danger of having their docks being blocked by sabotaging ninjas.
Yeah, I feel like if you would ask me for this specific map about the landmark choice for the Japanese, I'll probably lean towards the Kura storehouse, actually. Obviously, farms isn't going to be something that comes in as a thing of immediate impact, but we see this so many times. Early game, you lose most of your fishing eco, and if that's all the food eco you have, that's definitely a point of vulnerability. And
And
having those backup farms is definitely valuable, especially because this can allow you to have a bit more of a food income and allow you to potentially put up some land aggression, especially if the game goes a little longer, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. I think there is a better value coming out of the Kura storehouse.
yeah, and especially when you consider that you can, in theory, block the farms from the Kura storehouse in order to get it to give you wood earlier, rather than just making farms. So that's definitely an option. As soon as the Kura storehouse does not have any more room for farms, it's instead going to give you 75 wood per minute. So if you like block it with maybe, I don't know, even if you're desperate, you can make houses or maybe even some palisade walls. You can force it into giving you wood really early on into the game, and that definitely helps you on a hybrid map.
Oh, certainly. And in fact, I think that's the way that you should start with the Kura storehouse. Get that passive wood trickle, and whenever you feel like you're losing your fishing boats or you're depleting your berries, your sheep, that's where you can start deleting some of the walls that you block your Kura storehouse with to allow the farms to spawn.
Right. Looks like it's only going to be a little bit longer, 25 seconds on that countdown till we get into our game number 2. I gotta say, I'm very excited for this one. So we saw it earlier with the AU bits against the Rus. So now seeing the Rus against the Japanese, we kind of get like a feel of how the Rus match up against these newer civilizations that we got from the DLC.
Oh yeah, I think it's still going to be challenging to take good engagements against the Rus here, but we're gonna have to see what DeMu has cooked up for us. Seed number 2 versus seed number 8. We are jumping into game number 2 here, DeMu with the 1-0 lead as we'll be heading to Thickets.
And here we go in the color orange, playing as the Japanese. We got Liquid DeMu on the opposite side, playing as the Ruse in the color blue, we got Lash. And yeah, as you said, Tickets, we looked at it earlier in our matchup between Baltune and Myriad. Very cool new map in our Sultan's Ascent DLC. It's a little bit of a mix between the Baltic map, but it also has a little pond there in the middle with the Sacred Side and a boar as well. Definitely a very cool one. And look at that, we got the new biome as well. So bunch of cherry trees all around. We might have had
I
that one
love it.
earlier. I just didn't notice it earlier. We had
I
it.
think we had it once or twice, but I gotta say, this is one of my favorite biomes out there. It's just so lovely to look at.
Yeah, definitely very, very pretty. I also like the savanna biome. The savanna biome also, like the other biome, so pretty as well to look at. But yeah, looking at those cherry trees, at least give us something to look here in the early game, as the early game tends to play out relatively similar on water. Players are just going to be getting those fishing ships out. And as I mentioned earlier, DeMu, he only has those 5 villagers out on wood. He doesn't really need any more in order to be able to constantly produce fishing ships. On the opposite side, the Ruse, they also only go for 5 villagers on wood. Not because they need 5 villagers on wood to constantly produce fishing ships, but because they actually don't want to constantly produce fishing ships. They want to be able to go for a really, really quick feudal age and then transform their fishing ships into attack ships to be able to do some really early economy damage to their opponent.
Yeah, both of these civilizations are quick to feudal on hybrid maps where they go for docks. Rus, of course, getting the gold that they need for feudal age from bounty, and then, as you said, they are heavy on food so that they can get a quick feudal age. On the other side, Japanese don't have to invest that many villagers to have a consistent fishing boat production, so they can shift villagers to food in larger quantities, shift villagers to gold a little sooner, which means that they will also have a pretty quick feudal age time here. In fact, probably both of these players will be reaching feudal age at approximately the same time.
Now, this is very interesting. DeMu switching additional villagers off of wood. So right now he's only got 2 villagers on wood, meaning that he will also idle out his stock in favor for a quicker feudal age now. What this means, though, is that he's going to be going for a build where he won't be able to afford any attack ships in the feudal age. Instead, he will be getting some Shinobi out. But Shinobis, we mentioned earlier, they don't really do a ton against Rus.
Yeah, I'm unsure. Like, we talked about this prior to the game. Against the Rus, the Shinobi should not be able to accomplish much here. There seems to be much more legitimacy in using the Kura Storehouse as a proxy wood trickle unit, but it's Koka Township. I don't know, like, we might ignore something that DeMu considers important here. But the only thing I can think about is potentially using the Shinobi to harass villagers instead of actually torching down docks.
We also get the Kremlin now out for Lash, and with that, he's going to have a very, very strong defensive landmark going for himself. Doesn't have any villagers on gold right now, meaning he will only be able to afford archer ships. Actually, he doesn't have enough villagers on... Then again, I want to say he doesn't have enough villagers on wood to be able to afford the archer ship. With the transformation, you do get a discount on your ships based on what you paid for the initial ships when you transform them as a Ruse. So you should still be able to afford that archer ship immediately, but it's a very nice feudal age timing coming out here from DeMu now.
Yeah, Kremlin versus Koka Township. Kremlin obviously is going to be a big thing protecting those lumberjacks, so really the only place where DeMu could put pressure on Lash is going to be his gold mine. Feudal Age a little quicker here for DeMu, but Lash is parking right there with his combat ship. And there's the first Shinobi. No conversion coming in for that Lloydia fishing boat, I think, just yet. Oh yeah, there it is.
There it is, exactly. And DeMu, he doesn't have any ships yet. First ship is going to be in queue now. It's going to be an archer ship from him as well. That might be enough in order to deter the ship, but the 3 ships from DeMu, he can just park them inside of his dock, so there's not going to really be an issue there. With that,
exactly
ships are going to fall back. Does Lash know about the Shinobi, though? He should. He should definitely anticipate the Shinobi coming over. He only has a fishing ship there, and with that... Oh, he put a ship in queue. He can't... Oh. And he's canceling that one.
There's the sabotage, though. And this could be big. I feel like DeMu, especially in this early stage where you don't have that much firepower for each of these navies, he could even get close to this dock and try to deny this or deny the repairs with his own combat ships. He would take a lot of damage, but he would keep shutting this dock down.
Villager on gold might be a little bit exposed for Lash. With the Shinobi there, has to be really, really careful. The Shadow Step might be coming in here. Oh no, there's another dock. Does DeMu see that? I think he sees it. The Sabotage is coming in once again. Lash, he sent his boats away.
Villager
he sent his
has
boats
to
away.
leave here.
Needs to
my
cancel
lord,
a dock.
that is just so bad for Lash. Lash is pushing a water, but his docks keep getting denied. He's now rallying the militia, but those should not be able to do much against the Shinobi. Might buy some time for a second dock to go up, though.
Yeah, the militia are doing some work here, but the Shinobi shadow stepping onto the villager.
There it goes. Beautiful pick there by DeMu. At the same time, DeMu's own dock is being delayed over here. Might lose a couple of villagers as a consequence. Indeed, he lost one, and he's going to lose a second villager as well. Lash killed 4 eco in this game compared to DeMu's 1.
Yeah, definitely got some value out of this, but the Shinobi, they might be... They're the kind of unit that can potentially checkmate you if you don't respect him enough. There we go. Villagers are getting pulled in order to get that dock up. He needs it as soon as possible.
Yeah, second
as long
dock
as it's
is a
sabotage,
must-have, and
no
the first dock
units.
is already heavily damaged here.
Yeah. And the archer ship, it's gonna get focused down now. I feel like he needs to repair that one with villagers. Oh, the Shinobi are coming in again. Villager has to be careful. It's getting taken down really, really quickly. And the other dog, it's just gonna get sabotaged again.
Oh my lord, DeMu's playing this one so well, and because the docks keep getting sabotaged, you just don't have any ships here for Lash. Not a single demo that can deal with these war junks.
Yeah, even if he gets the demo ship out, there is an archer ship out for DeMu that he can just pull. But this is still very, very annoying right now for Lash. He's floating a lot of wood that he's just not able to put into use right now. I think he might just need to get a couple of archers out right now. He can definitely afford it, just to make sure that on land he's going to be safe there. And even after that, he can just send the archers over to his opponent's wood line to get some damage in there. It's a difficult position for him to be in right now. Demo ship is now in, and the second Shinobi is going to get killed. With that, at least for now, there's not going to be any more Shinobi out for DeMu.
One thing that Lash was able to accomplish is pick off a lot of these pricey units. Destroyed value 550 against 190 on the other side. Now the demo is creeping in as well. Nice low micro there by DeMu, trying to avoid the demo hit. But his own galley is getting repelled, and the demo ship is still a factor. Demo gets taken out before it connects to the war chunk, though. Looks like Lash is going to have to fall back over here for the time being. But at the very least, he now gets his docks operational, and those Shinobi, they are no longer a threat.
Yeah, another dock came out as well. Lash, he's got a fishing ship out. Making these fishing ships as a ruse, it's so pricey. You have to really be careful. They also take a long time, so they kind of block other ship production from your dock. Have to be really careful with that. And now he's lacking the wood to get another Sprinkle ship out. He definitely needs at least 2 here to be able to take these archer ships out in time and make some give his demos the opportunity to shoot onto his Sprinkle ships.
Demo
Now,
a little cornered over here. DeMu doing a great job picking it off eventually. Takes quite some time until he actually... the demo connects!
Ship!
DeMu going a little overzealous with his ships,
went-
just closed the
no.
distance and he sunk his vessels this way.
What? A
I don't know if
misstep.
that was a misclick or maybe he thought that the second volley from the galley is gonna connect. But it definitely felt like he anticipated the demo ship to be picked off before he dove in. And the demo wasn't picked off. Eats a huge connection, and this actually swings this heavily in the favor of Lash. Because not only did Lash take a great engagement on water, he's got knights out there to start harassing with.
Yeah, DeMu, he does scout out that stable, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's dropping a barracks right about now on his own side. But yeah, this definitely suddenly swings the tide of battle here for Lash in a very, very good way. With that, he's gonna be able to potentially force DeMu off of water right now. Still doesn't have quite as many ships out as he needs. DeMu right now, he's sitting on 700 wood per minute. Lash, he only has 500 wood per minute. Neither of these players so far have gotten wheelbarrow or the double broadaxe upgrade.
Yeah, ship scattered a little here. DeMu looking for a connection down south with no galley nearby to help out for DeMu. But with the galley arriving, Lash is going to be forced back for the time being. He does have 2 knights on the field, though, and I think one of them is just about to hit the lumberjacks of DeMu. That's exactly what could swing momentum even more so in the favor of Lash here. That's the second knight.
Knight
The first
also on the
one,
way.
oh yeah, there it is.
There he is. Oh, he's going to the gold.
He doesn't have vision on the vills, and I think DeMu was able to pull them back. Kind of a missed opportunity here for Lash.
And now the barracks is getting rushed up by DeMu. Unfortunate. If he just put it on attack move onto the gold, that would have definitely gotten him some value at least.
DeMu is out of gold, and he's got lumberjacks exposed to the south as well. He had his lumberjacks split. To the north, there was a tower protecting them, not so much to the south, and this is going to be a lot of idle time. And DeMu doesn't have additional gold to make new ships with.
But at the same time, attack on water happening as well. Both players have a relatively even mass on water. And the Knights are able to definitely get a good amount of value in. DeMu behind all of this, he's once again pivoting into some Shinobi as well. Knight is gonna lose his life to the TC fire. Actually, does he survive? Oh, he barely survives. 1 health though. Even a villager is gonna be able to take him down now.
Yeah, calculated. It's actually the Shinobi chasing some of these Knights around. This is a great diversion by Lash. At the same time, he's looking to take a water engagement. DeMu does have a respectable fleet though. He doesn't have any demos, but he does have a lot of archer ships to pick off the enemy demos with.
Yeah. Lash, he definitely needs at least 4 Springle ships. Does have the 4th one, just not there on the front. No demo ships out there right now for DeMu. But with 4 to 5 demo ships, Springle ships, Lash should be able to push onto DeMu's fleet, focus down the archer ships, and then just run in with the demolition ships here. Weak Knight is just going to be pathing by those villagers for now, still getting chased by those spearmen and the samurai. Oh, turns around a little bit too early. Loses his life for it. Right now, both players just massing up their units on water. DeMu, he's floating a lot of wood right now. 900 wood in the bank. Might just want to drop a couple more... If he's able to drop a couple more docks on the pond in the middle, he can get the emplacements very quickly. He already has 1 dock with an emplacement there.
Yep.
In a very nice position.
He was pushed away from gold, so that's why he's floating a lot of wood. He simply couldn't spend it on additional ships. But as you said, by dropping some additional docks and getting some emplacements on them, it becomes a legitimate tool of just maintaining control over the water. Much needed, that is, because right now he's outnumbered 7-4 when it comes to sprinkled ships. 3 galleys on each side, but there are also 3 demos for Lash mixed in between the other vessels.
Engagement about to be happening. Lash has a very good number right now when it comes to the Springle ships. Definitely enough in order to be able to take a fight here. An engagement is
using
happening.
Springle ships to push up and try to snipe the galleys from the back line before engaging with the demos. Demos coming in now, thinking twice about it. Galleys still firing from the back line, but Lash feels like he has the upper hand here in this fight. Takes out both galleys from the back line. Demos have no natural counter now. Demo coming in from the south, though. Beautiful hit by DeMu. Still 2 more demos on the field for Lash, though. Splits are nice from DeMu. Avoids both of these demos. And DeMu, despite all those demos being out there for Lash, he keeps most of his fleet intact, forces Lash away.
And DeMu got a knight. Oh! It's 2 ships. That was a good hit there by DeMu. And with that, Lash he's gonna have to fall back. Wait, did Lash actually... He converted his fishing ships into Springle ships. That's why he suddenly had so many of them out. That's gonna mean, though, that his economy... Actually, never mind. They're the other... They're still there. For a second, I thought he transformed them, but there are additional ones on the other deep-sea fish. Demo ship.
Looking for a connection here. Gets a decent hit on the opposing ship, but barely any damage done. Second demo also gets picked off, and DeMu, he's been doing a masterful job avoiding those demos. But look at what Lash is doing behind this. This is all a diversion, as he's aiming to get to Castle Age here with the Abbey of the Trinity.
I don't know about this timing, because he might be losing water for it if he's going up. He was in a nice position on water, but now, not so much anymore. Is he going to be able to hold it now? Going to be the main question here. Demo ship is going to get sniped out by DeMu, maybe, maybe not, maybe yes, is getting sniped out. And
such
demo
back and
ships, they're
forth on the
just...
water, but as you said, this is a precarious window to age up in for Lash. He's outnumbered on the water, or at least so it seems. But DeMu has no deep demos right now. He has 2 more in queue, he has just popped out 1, and this buys some time for Lash to get to Castle Age and get some critical upgrades going with the Castle Age advantage.
Lash just lost a bunch of fishing ships to a couple of demos there from DeMu on the top side. Definitely gonna hurt his food economy now. He still has a good amount of food remaining, though. Interestingly enough, he's now going...
He actually moved onto the boar
That's
so
a good
that he
play.
can compensate for his lost fishing eco.
It's making archers now. I think some men-at-arms probably would have been better, but the archers definitely work well both against the Shinobi and the Spearman that DeMu has right now.
Yeah, speaking of which, DeMu is actually very heavy onto the Spearman. He's just spamming them right now. At the same time, of course, Lash is going for some warrior monks, looking to get some relics for himself. Once again, naval fights break out. DeMu is looking to flank from the north. Galleys do a good job picking them off one by one. And then to the south, Springald ships hold strong. Lash has taken a really good fight over here on the pond.
Oh, at the same time, though, DeMu, tons of spearmen out there, and he's also going up with the floating gate now behind all of this. But it feels like he might be losing out on water now. Because Lash, he kept reinvesting on water. If he just gets the armor upgrade in, I think he's also going to be able to push onto these emplacement docks.
And don't forget, Lash is working his way towards relics as well. So there's more to this than just controlling the water. If this push stalls out for DeMu, he's going to miss out on the majority of the relics. Lash is already out there with some knights, with some archers. And if he takes the pond in the middle, or the island that is, he even gets access to a second board.
Both demo ships do get sniped out there by DeMu. Still no major upgrades yet on these military ships from Lash. Fighting right now with archer ships against the Springle ships. Definitely has to think about that one again. Pulls back for now.
Yeah, DeMu isn't bailing on the water just yet, and he's holding on, he's buying time for a floating gate. He's even fortifying a lot of the docks with the emplacements, just trying to make sure that Lash cannot fully push him off from the water.
Yeah, and that's gonna help DeMu out a lot whenever he's gonna be falling back. A couple of the fishing ships here, though, are gonna be going down. Good bit of damage coming out there. And now the floating gate is gonna be coming in for DeMu. Behind all of that, he also upgraded his Daimyo Palace to the 2nd tier. Has the option now to go for 3 bannermen.
His fleet is underwhelming though, and looks like he's going to get repelled once again. Demos get picked off way too early. Demo is definitely bailing on the water now, just looking at the numbers he has. Although he's grabbing some upgrades, he doesn't have consistent production on the water right now. Now he's outnumbered very heavily.
Armored Hull is going to be coming in. I mean, with all the dock emplacements he has, it's still going to be very hard for Lash to really push into this until he doesn't get Armored Hull for himself, and it's not in queue yet. I definitely would have expected to see Armored Hull here a little bit earlier, at least before he's opting for veterancy on his archers.
Yeah,
that's going to be what's coming in now.
And DeMu still has a fishing eco here, so as much as Lash is pushing the water, DeMu still has some fishing eco there, so there is definitely some value. At the same time, Lash is floating a ton of food here, 1900 food in the bank, just completely unused.
Yeah, I think that's why Men-at-Arms probably would have been a very good call for him. He definitely had a big window there in the Castle Age to just get a couple of barracks out and spam those Men-at-Arms out. Fight once again happening here. It's still within the range of an emplacement dock, which always makes it very, very difficult to take these engagements over a long period of time. Because DeMu, he's just attacking and falling back every time.
It looks like Lash is going to have to bail on his fishing eco here. He's got a huge food bank, so losing a couple of fishing boats probably won't be catastrophic, but he won't even lose any, excluding one that got sniped down in the very last second. But look at the wood eco for DeMu. His eco in general wasn't really fancy, apparently, and he's going to have to just retask all these lumberjacks to the north. Behind this, Lash is bringing back 2 relics only. He definitely was slowed down in his efforts to collect relics, though he wanted to take the ones from DeMu's side, so the remaining 3 relics are all on the side of Lash.
Yeah, they've all been brought back a little bit every now and then, so he's just going to be able to collect them now. It's a ton of Ship still out here from both players. But yeah, Lash, he's just floating so many resources. And now he's going to be going into Knights. I still think that Men-at-Arms would have just been better because he could have had like 25 Men-at-Arms out right now. And pushing in with those, it's much easier because the Spearmen from your opponent, they can't really do anything about that. For now, still some aggression happening on water. Nothing concise yet. Archers managed to take down some of the Spearmen here from DeMu. And now DeMu barely has any military
to get a tower up. He managed to get a tower up so he can protect his stone mine. And at this point, Spearman actually locking this relic away. Still only 2 relics for Lash. He's in the need of gold. Honestly, I'm unsure, Crackedy. With all the food that he's floating, could you see Imperial Age being a thing here for him? I would think it's kind of suicidal in many ways, but I just don't see him using that food anywhere else.
The question is, what is he going to get from Imperial Age? Nothing.
Yeah, that's my problem too. Maybe, well, one thing you're getting is extremely long-range springles that have a massive bonus against ships in a very tight naval scenario.
You're also getting an upgrade.
Worth all the investment.
You're also getting an upgrade on your Springle ships to be able to fire cannons instead of normal Springle shots, which could help a lot. But these upgrades are very expensive, and now he's starting to spend his resource. Crossbowmen and knights coming out for him. That's going to be a very, very nice land army. Question is going to be, what about water? Because DeMu is now starting to also mass up a big army over on water.
And DeMu has walls to the south, makes it difficult for Lash to break into his base. DeMu also expanded towards the second town center, so he's going to start pulling ahead in terms of economy. And as you said, DeMu is once again building up a fleet, and Lash kind of stalled out on water, at least for the time being. It's that land army that needs to connect, though. He's got 8 knights, he needs to find value for those.
Yeah, for sure. For now, he's just massing them up more and more. I could also see him trying to go for like a water fight with a transport ship to get these units out in the middle of DeMu's base. It's very risky, because if that gets sniped, you're going to lose suddenly 16 units. But it's an option. Other than that, he would have to run across the top side in order to get a really good engagement there. And some fishing ships get taken down.
I still think that Springles would be a great asset here for either side, just helping out when it comes to taking out those ships. Looks like we will have a little skirmish here. The arrow ships of DeMu are getting taken out, and Lash is waiting with the demos on the back line. He's trying to... Actually, he lost his demos previously. He has 4 in queue, but none on the field right now. So even if he takes out all these galleys on the front line, he doesn't have a demo to use. As I'm saying that, they pop out of the docks, but they don't have much of a support. They will get picked apart by the galleys, or they should be picked apart. And indeed, most of them do.
Yeah, not a good trade here for Lash. There were still some archer ships remaining. His large military mass now, though, is starting to push over towards the side there from DeMu. But it looks like DeMu right now, he's invested heavily onto the water. And he really wants to push Lash off water right now. And it looks like it's working. DeMu ship gets some really, really great connections there. Demolition ships from Lash, though, not so much. Not being microed.
Absolutely, it looks like Lash is getting pushed away, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of emplacements on those docks, so DeMu can take this out. DeMu is super heavy on the water. At the same time, Lash has a massive force on land, and that's no pushover. 13 men-at-arms, 17 knights, 20 archers with battering rams on the way. This could be a very nasty surprise for DeMu.
Yeah, indeed. I'm wondering, what kind of level is his main TC at when it comes to Daimyo? DeMu, he has enough resources. He has enough resource to go for the last level. With that, he's going to get the rocket attack. If that comes in, it's going to be very tough for Lash to get that TC down. Not that it's impossible, it only takes down 1 unit at a time. I mean, all the 3 landmarks are right there. I think if he gets like 5 rams out, he's going to be able to kill the TC before it's able to take down the rams. I think he can go for a landmark snipe here. I think that's the only chance after losing water for Lash to win the game.
I think he could have a window if he just wiped out in the entire eco from DeMu. There are a lot of villagers completely undefended here. I think that's also reasonable, but I agree with you. I think he cannot really afford to drag this game out a lot, because DeMu with the water, he's going to get a lot of fishing eco from there. But this push needs to do something. Either kill a lot of villagers or take out landmarks, take out key buildings. Something has to happen here for Lash for him to have a chance in this game.
There we go. Lash is going for it. At the same time, DeMu, he's getting the upgrade on his main TC. That one's gonna get 3,000 more health now. It's gonna be a proper... It's gonna be stronger than 2 keeps, basically, in one building. So that TC, it's gonna be very strong behind that. Lots of Samurai coming out as well. Onabugeishas also in queue. It's gonna be a tough hold.
Yeah,
Also a tough push. I feel like he's gonna need another ram.
Onabugeisha is such a weak unit when it comes to the raw HP, and look at what Lash is doing. He's actually focusing on the houses to try and pop cap DeMu and prevent him from pumping out new units.
It's a good strategy, but you need to take that TC down. It's just so strong right now with these rocket attacks. You can't really push onto it. I still think that a landmark snipe is gonna be the best way here for him to be able to win the game. He just needs, like, he gets 3 more rams out. What is DeMu gonna do right now?
Yeah,
because that's going to put him on a timer.
Still. He's actually focusing the forge. That could be a lucky find, though, because that is actually the landmark or the building that was constructing the second range defense upgrade for DeMu. He actually gets denied of that upgrade with that ram taking out the forge.
Not just that, also had the Yorishiro inside of it, so DeMu is going to be losing out on 75 gold per minute there.
That's a big force for DeMu, though. 20 Samurai, 8 Onabugeisha. But Onabugeisha die very quickly to the archers, and the Samurai will get picked apart by crossbows. I don't think this is sufficient for DeMu to fight just yet.
Archers in there as well, able to pick off all the newly produced units. I'm just not sure about the game plan right now from Lash. He needs to have a clear goal here.
I feel like he's trying to take critical infrastructure out. Going for a market to prevent the opponent from balancing eco, now going for the production buildings, and this is actually a good window. This is all the production that DeMu has, and I don't think DeMu can fight this just yet. He's going to try anyways. Charging in with all the Samurai. He does have a Katana Bannerman out there, and the cavalry is kind of shifted to the north here. Not much front line in front of those archers. Men-at-Arms also have to stand and fight this one. This is now or never for Lash in this game, you feel, and I'm not exactly sure if he has everything that he needs to fight this anymore.
Onabugeisha doing a good amount of damage here. DeMu trying to surround the military from Lash. Good military numbers from him. Warrior Monk buff helps out quite a bit with the front line, but a lot of the crossbowmen have been taken out. And there's just not many units remaining right now for Lash.
Oh man,
neither
they
for
weren't
DeMu,
focusing on Onabugeisha. The archers have been shooting at Samurai for quite some time.
Yeah,
and that just makes this engagement a lot worse for Lash. He has a second wave somewhere, but you feel like he just lost the juice here. He forfeit water for this counterattack to work, and now this counterattack has stalled out. We're looking at 76 army against 33. 115 population for Lash against 176 from DeMu.
Now, most of that military is out on the water still for DeMu. It's not the end of the world right now. Lash still has the chance here if he's able to get a keep up on the golds, on the large gold veins. He's going to be able to potentially starve DeMu out of gold in this map.
It's such a difficult position for Lash to be in now, because now DeMu has all the forces on land he needs to secure some additional ground. He's walled on both sides, so he won't really be raided. This is what I was missing for quite some time for Lash. A Springboard to start picking off ships with. It comes in too late, though. His docks are gone, his position on the pond is gone, and I feel like now he's playing from a position of weakness.
And behind that, he's got a small military force there. But I don't think it's going to be enough right now. He's also not really scouting. There's no scout nearby. With the stealth forest, he doesn't even know that there's infrastructure there or villages there that he can harass. He's just idly walking around there right now. I'm not quite sure what exactly he is going for behind all of this. He has enough resource for a keep here at some point.
He can still play gold denial, especially because he has secured the northern large gold deposit, and to the south, it's him who's mining it. So he should know that DeMu doesn't have a lot of gold remaining. And don't forget, we do have 4 relics for Lash, just 1 for DeMu. DeMu is looking to secure... Oh, Damo's looking to take this dock out here, but with the Springolds, Lash is going to be able to focus these down, and he does have a dock once again. I think Lash might be coming back into this one, simply because he's going to be able to slow down. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but at the same time, Lash's economy, it's getting raided heavily on the other side there.
Oh my lord!
Keep is getting rushed
got
up now.
Through the walls. There was a second layer even for Lash, but Lash wasn't able to get that going. Now he's going to lose all the villagers. Forget what I just said. I did not expect DeMu to be able to break into Lash's base like this. Now this is catastrophic for Lash.
Yeah, a lot of villagers going down there. The Honor Geisha just being so quick. Lash having most of his units on the other side of the map, trying to go for a push there. But he's losing so many villagers in return, down to 65 now. Cancel the outpost now, you almost had it down. Oh my god, he's losing so many units there. 62 villagers now. So far, 46 economy units have been killed. Now the military arrives, but the damage has been done. And behind that DeMu, he's got a really, really strong food economy right now. Lash does not.
Lash has no food economy, no wood economy. He's down by 40 workers in this game. And you feel like this is just death by 1,000 cuts at this point. Lash has taken too many punches in the face in this game to be able to come back from it unless he pulls off a miracle. He has lost the water, now he's lost a lot of his land-based eco as well. And DeMu is now rolling. He's got Samurai out there, he's got 44 Onabu Geisha. Fast-moving unit, exceptional when it comes to raiding. Exactly what he needs to just wipe out the remainder of Lash's eco.
With that Katana Bannerman, 6 Katana Bannermen in that army, that buff is never gonna run out. Also means that these Honor Geishas are getting +4 melee damage. And with their attack speed, 0.9 seconds in between every attack, they're attacking so rapidly with range as well from multiple rows. There are really, really fierce units in these kind of like melee skirmishes that DeMu is kind of forcing here now. Lash has 4,000 gold.
Oh. And it's Imperial Age coming in for DeMu. He's not gonna mess around, he's going up with the Tanegashima Gunsmith as well. I feel like when Lash sees that, he knows that it must be over. DeMu is gonna have attack advantage, he does have the bond. And there's a massive force coming in from the north. Something that Lash probably cannot deal with.
Lash just bought 2,400 food. He bought it.
Lord! I mean, Streltsy with a reasonable frontline would be great against all this infantry. I just don't think he has enough time to get to Imperial even. In fact, this is gonna be a position of weakness as he's aging up, getting attacked by DeMu.
He's on 125 pop compared to 180 right now, and DeMu, he's getting immediate access to the Osutsu as well. Osutsu probably one of the strongest late game units in the game right now. He's also getting some... Okay, he's getting some of the cannon ships out for the Japanese. Last time I saw them, though, those were pretty underwhelming.
Oh, the Atakabune will be on the way, but they won't be the ones stealing the show in this one. It's the land army for DeMu, though it does get cleaned up by Lash. Don't forget, Onabu Geisha are very fragile, and in this engagement, looks like the Man-at-Arms outlasted them. And down south, Lash has actually taken away most of the gold here from DeMu's side. DeMu is just now going to find out that the gold has been taken. Lash, though, he has taken a massive beating here, and this would need to be an awfully long game for him to be able to come back into this one.
He's now also reaching the Imperial Age, but no food economy, no wood economy. It's just not a position of strength, as you said earlier. Meanwhile, DeMu, he's getting a collective 4,500 resources per minute. Lash, on the other side, he's struggling to get 2,000.
Yeah, I really feel like the only way that we are going to see Lash prevail in this game is through gold denial. However, DeMu is now securing the large gold deposit to the north, so even the chances of that happening are extremely slim.
Further raids coming in here now from DeMu. Lash notices, pulls the villagers inside. This still doesn't feel like a great position to be in right now. The Atakabune, they don't really do too much damage. They fire as fast and as many projectiles as a normal cannon ship, but for some reason the rockets only do half the damage.
Yeah, it felt a little underwhelming, you know, just army casually facing off against that ship without taking any major damage. Lash is losing way more villagers though, and the concern for him is that he's actually dropping population instead of increasing. If he was increasing in population, you could say maybe there is a glimpse of hope, but he went from like 120 population to 90. He's sitting at 50 villagers. His position is getting weaker and weaker instead of being stronger and stronger.
And feels like DeMu, he just needs one large push here in order to finish this game out. Lash is now getting some Streltsy out, but with what economy are you going to keep making them? He's also been cut off now from both the large gold mains, or at least what's remaining of them. So he's not going to be getting a lot more gold here in this game. It feels like this is just a matter of time now until until DeMu's gonna be able to finish Lash off.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think the path to recovery is so long for Lash that DeMu simply won't give him that much time. If Lash had 5 TCs, I would say, okay, maybe he can recover his villager count, but it just comes in a little too late. He's got 2 TCs, 500 food per minute. He's been cut off from this gold mine to the south, and DeMu has walled off the gold to the north. So the only gold source that is going to be consistent in the long run for Lash is going to be the relics. His food eco is feeble. I think he has gotten the demo ship deck though. He's probably trying to make a comeback on water. I just feel like the value of water is just way too little at this point.
And behind all of that, DeMu, he's also got the Izutsu out. And those are very, very strong. 10 Izutsu in the front line. They do a ton of damage to buildings. There we go.
Well, you're going to see that in a second. Although, that's a little cheating because they're on top of walls, so they get some bonus damage as well. But anyway, yeah, as you said, Izutsu, Mangonels, they'll just break through here. Frankly, even if Lash had 5 keeps behind this, it wouldn't matter. Because as long as DeMu has the pond, he can transport these units through as well. It's not gonna matter though. It's a massive force, 83 army against 36 only. And only 7 Streltsy for Lash.
Yeah, this feels over at this point in time. Now, DeMu, he's got a lot of villagers over there in the gold. I feel like if Lash managed to keep the gold control, he would have probably still been in a very good spot to potentially staff out DeMu. But then, with all the villager losses combined, it just got a little bit too much there. And now, the army from Lash is going to fall likely here. TC goes down. Keep is going to go down to the Izutsu as well. Military forces shots too many here from DeMu right now. Oh, AoE attack on the archers, potentially. Yeah, they're all going down. And with that, GG gets called a close one. Definitely multiple times where it looked like Lash had the game put in the bag, potentially. But DeMu going for the late game, managing to hold out, and then the Izutsu just being there and the raids. It was the raids. Like, Lash losing probably, what was it, like 60 villagers there in roughly 5 minutes of time. Kinda doomed him on land as well.
Yeah, certainly. I feel like Lash had his windows, but there was one key decision in the middle of the game that essentially decided who gets to take this game. DeMu committed very heavily to the water. Lash decided to commit very heavily onto land. But Lash's land push kind of stalled out. DeMu had his time to build up his numbers and take a decisive fight. And Lash was never able to recover from the fact that he forfeit the pond. And at the same time, he was on 1 TC for the entire game, essentially. Never really was able to build up that juggernaut eco that DeMu was able to.
Exactly. We can see it here in the villager count after losing water. Like, the military count here looked so good. I feel like at one point, like, if it was just like 5 rams that Lash had and he went for a landmark victory, he could have probably killed the landmarks before DeMu managed to mess up such a big army. Because we can see here when it spiked, before it spiked, DeMu barely had any military out on land. If Lash managed to end the game there, he would have won because he ended the game there at that point in time. But we can already take a look now at what is going to be our 3rd game in the set now. We're going to be looking over at Himeyama, another one of the new maps here in the Sultan's Ascent. I'm a big fan of Himeyama. It's very cool. You get like this little pond in the middle. Players start out on a little bit of a hill, and you get like these couple little wood lines around your base, and it's a very pretty map. It's a very, very pretty map, and you also got this pond in the middle. It's all very cinematic, and it's a very beautiful map. Very beautiful map. Gameplay is also very fun on it, and we're going to be seeing English from DeMu against Jeanne d'Arc. That's going to be the first time we see Jeanne d'Arc today.
Classic historical matchup, so to say. Jeanne d'Arc facing off against the English. The last time I checked history books, that did not happen on Himeyama. But anyway, again, we have this matchup where you have an old school powerhouse civilization facing off against the new kid on the block. Jeanne d'Arc, of course, one of the more oppressive new civilizations. On the other side, though, you have DeMu's English, which is no pushover. And we've seen English prevail in similarly styled maps in tournaments before. Talk about Canal, for instance, and how effective English were there. The fact that you have these villagers that can fire their bows in Dark Age, allows you to dictate tempo of Dark Age. Of course, you can also mix in some men-at-arms if you really want to, but I feel like it's DeMu who's going to be able to secure the pawn here in Dark Age, and that's where things will begin going into Feudal. So I feel like for Lash, the first major decision point is going to be what are we doing in Feudal, because I feel like Dark Age is pretty well defined here.
Yeah, I'm wondering right now if like English seems like a pretty good civilization in theory to be able to deny Boers from Jeanne d'Arc. If you go for like a correct timing, you can have your barracks up at the same time that you get your feudal age in. You can immediately get just a couple of longbowmen out and some spearmen. I think like 3 spearmen, 3 longbowmen are probably going to be enough to move out immediately because there's not going to be more than 3 knights coming out from Jeanne d'Arc. More than 2 knights coming out from Jeanne d'Arc immediately that she goes out with. I'm not sure exactly how the numbers add up. I've not played this matchup before. I've not seen it before. I'm not sure how the numbers are going to work out. If English can deny the Boers from Jeanne d'Arc, then English is going to be in a very good position. But if Jeanne, at the same time, that's like the main weakness of English, moving out too early. This is tough. I think maybe this is going to be a matchup that's favored for Jeanne d'Arc. Just looking at the different timings in my head right now, I think this is probably going to be a matchup where Jeanne is going to be favored. Also, main weakness from English is just when they move out, they're very easily caught out because the army is so slow. That's exactly the strengths for Jeanne d'Arc because she has a lot of base movement speed in her melee form. And yeah, I think this should be a favorite matchup here for Jeanne.
I agree. I think the issue is that English will be lacking mobility on what is a very open map. So even if this was French versus English, I would probably say I like French more here. And Jeanne d'Arc is just a boosted version of the French in many ways. As you said, it's going to be difficult to deny the Boers from her. And once we have the Boers, once we have that second or even third level of Jeanne, she gets very powerful. But more importantly, I feel the consecration and the ability to get knights out for a very low cost is going to be immensely valuable on such an open map. And I could see the English struggling against keeping track of all these knights raiding the eco.
It's not just the knights; you also get this boost on siege units as well in the later stages of the game. Getting that bonus on siege units means that you can get a lot of mangonels out against a civilization like the English. That's going to be a very strong option. And we're about to go into our game number 3 now. Here we go. In the color orange, we got DeMu playing as the English, and on the opposite side, we got Lash playing as Jeanne d'Arc. This is going to be on Himeyama, one of the new maps that we've got in the Sultan's Ascent DLC. Starting off, we got Jeanne building her house, building her lumber camp, starting off as a peasant.
Indeed, Jeanne d'Arc, brand new French variant civilization out here. You do get a construction speed bonus when you build buildings with Jeanne. So that's the concept about her building the house and the landmark, or not just the house, the landmark, but of course the mining camp as well. And we are going to see her building the landmark as well, especially because that also gives her a bunch of extra XP.
Yeah, and getting experience, very, very important for Jeanne, as she's going to be able to level up. You're going to be able to choose what path she will take, if she's going to be a woman at arms or a ranger. Going to be going out for a ranged attack or a melee attack. But look at that, we got DeMu going out for an early dock here. That's interesting, because this is going to, I think, delay his age up at least a little bit. This might mean that Lash could be in a very good position when it comes to harassing with his knight and getting control over the Boers. And the Boers are actually very important with Jeanne d'Arc, because once she reaches level 2, she's going to need 500 experience to go to her level 3 form. And the Boers are going to be giving her 50 experience each. So you're going to be getting a ton of experience from that. It's basically 1/5 that you need to go up to the next level. So getting those, you definitely want to deny these if you are playing against her. It's going to be finding that dock now. Scout is going to be running over there. He's going to be moving out to gold as well.
Yep. Fairly standard start so far for DeMu. Very similar to what you would see from an English player on a map like Canal, let's say. Honestly, it's kind of this setup for any of these maps where you have a tiny pawn to work on. you have the English and the villagers being able to push away enemy villagers with their bows, so you will always be the player that gets the pawn guaranteed for himself.
Indeed, those short bows, very dangerous in those villagers on villager kind of fights. But now the School of Cavalry is being built by Lash with 2 villagers, one of them being Jeanne d'Arc. Also spots out a couple of wolves there. Wolves also give you 12 experience each with Jeanne d'Arc. So definitely gonna be a potential target here for Lash.
Yeah, School of Cavalry on the way. It's only being built by 2 villagers, but that's a little deceiving, given that one of those is Jeanne d'Arc, so you actually get more villagers worth of building power. Plus, of course, you also have the extra XP coming in for Jeanne. I think we can actually see that in the spectator mode if we are on the perspective of the Jeanne d'Arc player.
Yeah, there should be coming some force up. There we go. Every couple seconds, she gets 4 experience for building these buildings. And yeah, usually shortly after getting that landmark up, Jeanne d'Arc usually reaches that level 2. Recently, we've seen a lot of players go for the melee version of Jeanne d'Arc. I'm not sure if maybe in this matchup it's probably better to go for the range version. Not just because you're not going to be able to get sniped out as easily, but also because the ranged version has a very strong single target attack, which might make more sense against the English when they go for like these men-at-arms, really heavily armored kind of units that you might want to focus out.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think the big thing here is that if you go for the melee version of Jeanne and you're facing a bunch of longbows, once you get to a critical mass of longbows, they'll just one-shot Jeanne, and she's way too valuable to lose early on. So there could be indeed a lot of legitimacy in going for the archer version of Jeanne. But we'll have to see that in a second. First Knight on the way for Lash, as you would expect. In Council Hall on the other side for DeMu, no surprise on that front. DeMu is also interested in what pathway Jeanne is going to go, apparently. Active with the scout in front of the enemy base, we'll see the first Knight coming out.
Yeah, you definitely want to know which direction Jeanne is going to be going as well. If it's going to be the top side with the boar or the bottom side with the boar, if you want to deny that. Council Hall is coming out now, so it looks like... Okay, now he knows that it's going to be the top side of the board that she's going for. And we can also see here that the melee version has been chosen.
Indeed, this is going to be scouted by DeMu as well. Knight will spot the scout, so the scout is going to get forced away. Looks like DeMu won't be able to deny Jeanne taking that boar. And it is just going to be the most standard composition that you can play as the English. Spearmen, longbows, as old-fashioned as it gets.
I'm just gonna have to be careful now that he chose the melee path. If he's getting to level 3, he's gonna be in a fine position, because with level 3, Jeanne d'Arc is gonna be taking 50% less damage from ranged units, which is gonna help a lot against these longbowmen. Until then, though, it's gonna be very easy to snipe her out with those longbows. Lash once again just looks at where these wolves are, rounds them up nicely here for Jeanne, and as soon as she gets over there, that's gonna be a ton of experience for her.
Oh, that's so lovely. 3 wolves out there, a lot of experience. And, you know, it's not just about this woman-at-arms setup that we have for Jeanne, it's also that once she gets level 3, the knight version, that's where she gets really terrifying.
Indeed, once she gets the knight version, she can also summon units out of thin air, and those aren't just going to be normal units. They're going to be castle age level units immediately with a lot of armor on them. Makes it very, very difficult if you're still in feudal age to fight against them. 3 knights out already, has a good army. DeMu made a good amount of walls early on here, which is going to be very strong against these knights. Means that Lash is gonna most likely not be able to really harass these villagers on gold at least. And DeMu's also protecting his villagers over on the wood line with his longbowmen. Fishing ships here might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, in theory, you also getting bonus experience from taking down buildings. It's equal to 10% of the cost of a building you'll be getting as resources. So taking the stock out is going to be granting Jeanne 15 experience.
Feels like Lash just wants to bait DeMu out of his base and force a fight on open field. DeMu isn't really taking the bait right now, he's going to fall back to the safety of his base. Does have these lovely walls positioned, as we do have a knight waiting in here, does not find a single villager kill. But these walls that we have set up here for DeMu, we are seeing this over and over again from players. Now that the walls actually snap to resource deposits like gold mines, you can physically block knights from harassing your gold miners, and that makes it a lot more difficult for Lash to find exposed villagers in the base of DeMu.
Doc is soon gonna be set on fire here. DeMu is once again pulling his units in order to deal with that. Let's have a good amount of units out. Army value, though, in favor of Lash. But there's no Pierce armor upgrade yet, so these longbow can still do a lot of damage, and Jeanne has to be careful here. She is gonna be very, very fast in comparison to these longbowmen. Able to pack her stuff and leave there for now. But now the military units from DeMu, they've been pulled forward, so this is probably a timing window that Lash could use to make use of his knights here and try to harass the woodline once again. If he goes for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was literally the end of my sentence. So yeah, if he goes for it, but it doesn't look like he's going for it right now. He's hovering around the deer. Now, usually that makes sense against other civilizations that want to go out on the deer. But English, probably one of the only civilizations in the game that are perfectly content with just staying inside of their base and making farms. With that gigantic bonus on their farms, not just with gathering speed, but also when it comes to the cost, only paying half price for their farms. It's going to mean that Lash is not really going to be able to get anything from waiting there with those knights for now.
Indeed, for now, he just has a little map control. That's basically it. He's mixing in some archers himself. DeMu's still on just longbows and spears. It's a very OG setup that we have here when you look at this French versus English meta, I guess. One DC from both sides, English with longbow spear, on the other side, knights and archers from the French variant civilization. This is kind of what we've seen in the very first days of competitive Age of Empires back 2 years ago. Just single TC builds, slow eco build up with some poking and prodding, especially by the French player.
Some knights go around the side. Longbowmen already waiting for them. Pierce armor has already come in. Pierce damage as well, though, for DeMu, so those negate each other. Oh, knights still in range of the longbowmen. Might lose a knight here now. Doesn't pay attention to it from the looks of it. Only now notices. Knight is falling back, but that one is still going to get sniped out. Now, those are heavy losses. That's 480 resources going down there. And the dock likely going down here as well. That's going to be a lot of experience for Jeanne. The fishing ships as well.
Queued up, but it's too light.
It's too late, and with that experience going over to Jeanne. 7 for each fishing ship as well. Did the other boar get taken down already? I don't think I saw Jeanne walking all the way down to the other boar on the map.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think she did. One thing that Lash is doing is, indeed, the war is still intact. One thing that Lash is doing is expanding towards the hunt, grabbing survival techniques. Something that DeMu isn't really allowed to do right now, although he's breaking out of his base as we speak. And that's a scary force of longbows and spears, especially when you consider that Lash kind of lost a couple of knights. He's only down to 9 of them. You can potentially pick off Jeanne from a distance with the longbows, and this could be a great fight here for DeMu, I feel.
Maybe, but at the same time, you kind of want to take any fight that you can with Jeanne. Not if she gets sniped out, though. Have to be really careful with that. Jeanne at the brink of
away with just a tiny bit of HP, but at the same time, Lash has to forfeit a bunch of units to get away from this fight. Loses all the archers that he had, and right now he's got no tools to deal with those spearmen.
Yeah, usually you want to take a fight with Jeanne. You want to trade fights as well. But against the English, with the 7 tiles of range on the longbowmen, it is so tough to stay in range of the experience gain with Jeanne. Very, very tough position now for Lash. He's got knights remaining, but there's a lot of spearmen out. Wait, did she fall? Oh, never mind. It was Consecration going up there with the sound effect. If she gets to level 3, she's going to be in a fine position because she's going to take much less damage from ranged units. But until then, she's going to be in a tough position. I think she's probably not too far off from the next level, just based on how much experience she's been able to get here so far. But she's still not quite there yet. As soon as she gets to level 3, she's going to be able to take these fights together with the knights.
And it's the consecrated stable that is now under attack, and if DeMu can get those spearmen close and start torching it, that is going to be painful for Lash, who's low on gold, has a lot of food to work with, no wood though, and he still only has 2 archers on the field. Has to send all of his knights to counterattack potentially, because he cannot take this fight directly.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough engagement here. I'm not sure how much experience is remaining for him until he's able to get to that level 3. That's like the main thing that he's waiting for right now. Yeah, it looks like that stable is most likely gonna get taken down now. Still a lot of knights remaining here for Lash. As soon as he gets at level 3, he just has to take some fights here.
Lash is grabbing the ranged attack upgrade when he only has 4 archers on the field. Feels like the return of investment just won't be there for that upgrade, or at least not for the time being. He kind of needs every bit that he can grab, but I feel like his archers in such low quantities will simply be non-factors.
It's a very tough position for him to be in right now. These longbowmen, they do a ton of damage to these knights as well.
And DeMu's bailing. I think DeMu wants to go castle here. He's falling all the way back home.
It's getting there.
Has a lot of food and gold banked up and will try to take this fight in a choke point. Army split up a little here. Bit of a miss micro there by DeMu. Jeanne back to full HP. Longbows cannot get the snipe over there. And the spearmen, many of them got picked off by the knights. Now Jeanne is charging in. And I think Jeanne is gonna get taken out.
Level 3 and
Lord,
the longbows go down.
Level up comes in just in time.
And now the men-at-arms as well. They arrive, Jeanne's champions. But now Lash has to engage. He's pulling back. He can't pull back. Now he has to engage. As soon as level 3 hits, that's when you gotta all in.
Oh my lord. Jeanne was so close to being picked off
numerous
numerous times.
Ah, no, like, the timing.
Oh man. I mean, Jeanne was so close to being picked off, and she leveled up in the exact moment to prevent her from being picked off. Now she's level 3. She mixed in some of her champions, which are men-at-arms style unit. It's gonna be great against everything that DeMu has. And DeMu, he's concerned about a counterattack here. He's aging up with the White Tower, despite being on 1 TC.
Yeah, and the White Tower, I mean, it's gonna help him a lot here in the long term in the game. Just being able to defend all of these farms in the middle of his base and having like the double production immediately means that in theory he's up to like 4 production buildings right now for ranged units that he can make from. So he can get like a ton of crossbowmen out immediately to be able to deal with the army that Lash is right now. Lash keeps making more and more knights for now. But the crossbowmen are going to be starting to come out on the field very quickly.
Yeah, crossbows on the way, thanks to the White Tower. Goldmine is being denied from DeMu, though. And his farms are also rather exposed. It's 80 knights against, right now, just a single crossbow. But you do have the network of castles, aura as well. Looks like Lash wants to dive this one. He does have Jeanne d'Arc at full HP, but he thinks twice upon seeing the White Tower plus all these longbows. Heavy commitment to Spearman coming in as well from DeMu.
A lot of the landmark sizes have been adjusted with the last upgrade. That White Tower looks quite a bit bigger than it used to be.
Army value is still heavily in the favor of Lash, 5,010 compared to 2,200. But he still doesn't have many Thors or many units that can deal with these spears. His archers are just now coming in the second wave. And he's more importantly facing some walls over here. Walls that he's gonna have to get through in order to hit the eco.
Veterancy on these longbowmen means they also do a lot more damage compared to normal archers now from the feudal age, meaning they do a lot of damage against these knights. Now the veterancy on the spearmen has come in as well.
Yeah, network of citadels, of course, a big factor too. And a lot of these knights are heavily damaged. DeMu looking to pick off the champions here, and as you kind of highlighted, these veteran longbows do a lot of damage on those knights. Lash cannot really engage this anymore. In fact, he's piling up resources for Castle Age himself.
Yeah, I mean, the economy count right now is similar, and I think Lash, even if he's not got a farm transition going right now, he can still get a great timing in the Castle Age with the consecration on all of his buildings, and just paying less for his units. There's still an opportunity for him here in the Castle Age. Just needs to get there for now. He still has a great army value right now, 5,140 on the army value. If he's able to go up with the institution landmark, with the Royal Institute, he's going to be able to upgrade the Royal Biology, Royal Bloodlines on his units, and with that, his knights are going to have even more value added to them. They're going to pretty much double their HP.
12 villagers on the Royal Institute. He also has chivalry, so he's healing this army back up. And when this landmark completes and when he gets Royal Bloodlines, this army is going to be terrifying. Cantled Settles, Royal Bloodlines, buffed by Jeanne d'Arc. All of these knights full HP. And also these knights come at a food discount thanks to the Consecration ability coming from Jeanne d'Arc.
Yep. Having to pay less for your units, even in Feudal Age. It's a very nice bonus for Jeanne. And with the Royal Institute, she can also upgrade that buff to not just discount food, but also wood and gold. And with that, those knights, they're only going to cost 180 resources total. That's as much as a sofa usually costs. Now Age-Up comes in. Veterancy on the knights and the archers follows immediately. As well as the Pierce armor upgrade. DeMu behind all of this also. Not idling, getting relics out on the map.
And he's walling. That's so important in this scenario. He has a very slow-moving army of spearmen, longbows, and crossbows. And DeMu would just be abused with all these knight raids if he didn't wall. So by walling, he's going to prevent Lash from detaching some of his knights and just stretching out all the defenses. I think it's a much-needed addition for his game plan right now.
So far, looking at the economy, Lash is leading in most of these aspects right now. More food per minute, more gold per minute. Wood, not as much, but overall, leading in the income. That is only going to be as long as these natural resources, the deer, the boar, are going to be remaining on the map. So he's definitely on timer. If he's not able to close the game out within the next 6 minutes, once those natural resources start to disappear out of the map, it's going to be very difficult for him. Now, Jeanne, there's still one more level left to unlock on her. If he's able to get there to level 4, he's going to be able to get bombard cannons from her. And having bombard cannons in the Castle Age can also be very, very strong here. He can't take the fight yet. Royal Bloodlines has not come in yet, so has to be careful with not to take this fight. Shouldn't take this fight.
Crossbows from DeMu. He does have network of castles here, and this is a premature fight for Lash here, engaging into an overwhelming force of crossbowmen, spearmen, also close the distance. And these knights are getting picked apart as the Royal Bloodlines upgrade is coming in. This feels like a very premature fight here for Lash.
Still seems to be winning it. Could have won it even more convincingly, though. Destruction value. It's still in favor of DeMu there, but yeah, that was a very premature fight there. Not waiting for that Royal Bloodlines. It's still only halfway done.
He still took a better fight than I anticipated him would. Partly because DeMu is lacking both the melee attack and melee defense upgrades, so his spearmen died pretty quickly. In general, his spearmen did a lot less damage against those knights than they could have had. But yeah, as you kind of highlighted, Lash probably could have lost a lot less if he waited a little bit more for that upgrade to come in.
Army value still looking great for him, and the units will regenerate. But you have to be so careful when you Lash right now. Not sure how much experience is remaining for Jeanne, but it's a big jump from level 3 to level 4. I think it's like 1500 experience that you need, compared to 500 to level 3. So it definitely will take him a while. Outpost here might get taken down. Archers are going to be trading against the longbowmen and the crossbows. Probably not the best fight here, considering that DeMu has the Network of Citadels upgrade. Has a lot more attack speed on those units.
Lash probably tried to pick off some of the crossbows before the knights engage, but he wasn't really able to. And once again, DeMu holds strong here. Lash has lost a lot of knights, but he still has 21 of them on the field.
Company Ordnance also coming in now. With that, the knights' costs are going to be further decreased from the Royal Institute. Wait, is he getting that from a blacksmith?
The cost on those knights is going to be laughably low, to be honest, with all these upgrades in.
Lash is getting the upgrade from the blacksmith instead of the Royal Institute, so he's not getting the full discount from it. You get it way cheaper from the landmark.
Probably a slight mistake there for Lash, but what matters is that he does get this discount, and what also matters is that DeMu wanted to go for the hunt. Actually, beg your pardon, that is Lash moving out for DeMu's hunt. The health bar was blue. So Lash needs some more food. He's going to take the hunt from DeMu's side.
Yeah, with this many knights, I feel like Lash is getting to the point where he can just dive even under the White Tower. It's a lot of them. Actually, you don't really want to dive in these choke points, but you should probably just run around the base from DeMu. Actually, DeMu behind all of this, let's take a look at his base. He's added 2 additional TCs behind all of this.
Yeah, these are recent. He only has a 6 villagers lead, but he probably felt like he can never move out of his base, at least not for the next 10 minutes or so. He didn't want to risk it, but he's got strong defenses and he's going to use that to pull ahead in eco. Also gets a couple of valuable picks here on these villagers. Let's not forget, Lash, he's going to have to make a farm transition at some point, and that is going to put him into a position of weakness.
Stone Walls also coming in here now. Right when Lash wanted to push through.
Oh yeah, they are a little too late.
Not getting finished. It's a ton of knights here now. DeMu also has a good amount of spearmen. Is that gonna be enough?
The wall is half complete though, so technically DeMu can position his crossbows and longbows on top of the wall to prevent the knights from being able to hit them now. He won't do this because Lash is pulling back, but the option was there for him. And behind this, DeMu is booming away with this game. Lash looks like he's going to dive once again to the south. He's going very impressive here.
Fight is happening this time around. Archers picking off the spearmen now. And now the knights are running in.
This might be too much though. That's way too many spears, way too many crossbows. Lash is doing the right thing though, because he's using this as a diversion, allowing the second wave from the front to do some eco damage. Still, DeMu is holding strong though. He needs those stone walls completed if he wants to feel safe though.
Yeah, there's not a ton of eco damage being done right now. There's a single knight also doing damage here. Melee AoE attack from Jeanne coming out right now, doing damage, healing as well in there.
But the spears, with the network of Citadel's aura plus the crossbow support, they just eviscerated all the cavalry, and in a blink of an eye, DeMu just annihilated this attacking force. 11,000 resources worth of value destroyed against 7,000 lost, in a game where DeMu also has 2 additional town centers compared to his counterpart.
Yeah, I think at some point Lash definitely needs to go into siege, and there we go. Mangonels now being produced by Lash. The issue is, though, that DeMu, with that white tower, has the option to produce siege very quickly as well. Basically, that one acting as two siege workshops there that he can make Springles from in order to defend himself. Stone Walls also getting finished now.
Yeah, stone walls, they are not close to completion at every single part, but they should be finished by the time the archers arrive to deny this. So Lash can no longer aggress this angle. DeMu does have issues with gold control though. This gold mine has been harassed repeatedly throughout this game. Same can be said about these farms here on the front line.
Indeed. And there's been a lot of engagement so far in this game. I'm not sure how long Jeanne is away from level 4. That is going to come in eventually. So we see a lot of experience coming in here every now and then. Fight happening now. Units going down, experience being gained. At the same time.
Suboptimal engagements for Lash, you feel, though. Network of crossbows going a little overzealous here.
Lots of units getting taken down.
Oh, that might have been a misclick from DeMu, but boy, oh boy, was it a catastrophic one. Losing way too many crossbows to that swing of the sword.
Yeah, indeed, a lot of units just went down there, but at the same time, it looks like Lash is also potentially losing some villagers at the top side of the map to some crossbowmen and spearmen running around there from DeMu.
Still a neck-and-neck game here. Lash has got a strong position here. Springle is doing their best to keep any siege away. Knights are breaking in, though. Spearmen, for now, there to hold. This raid is so annoying for Lash, though.
Oh no, the villagers, they were just running back in. Mangonel is making its way forward. Jeanne d'Arc also moving forward. Gets the melee attack out, but not a lot of HP remaining on her. Might get taken down quickly here. And with that, Jeanne for the first time in this game. Going down.
Oh my lord, beautiful Mangonel shot at the same time, landing one on top of DeMu's forces. Oh, this is just chaos all over. Both sides taking some heavy casualties. Second Mangonel shot, doing a decent job as well. Springle's now lining up to take out the Mangonel, but with Jeanne d'Arc on, still way too many crossbows to deal with. These knights will be forced back, and once again, DeMu holds out against a relentless assault coming in from Lash.
A couple of crossbowmen killed a lot of villagers there. Suddenly, Lash also losing out on 10 villagers. Now Jeanne makes her return. And Lash still has a good amount of units out there that he can fight with.
Yeah, numbers are dead even. Army value in the favor of DeMu, though. Springolds looking to take out the Mangonel. Network of Castles is still applied outside here. DeMu taking a decent engagement. Most of the knights are now gone. They're just replaced
Level
with
4
a
comes
handful of
in.
champions from Jeanne. Yep. There is Jeanne, though, with the extra level. Maxed out she is. Problem is that Lash had to sacrifice so much to accomplish this.
And he still hasn't fully reacted to these raids coming in at the top side there. I feel like just an outpost here and there on his resources would have prevented these kind of small attacks with just a couple of spear and crossbows. He is going on to the gold now there from DeMu.
Lash also only
an
collected
issue.
one relics. Or one relic. 2 relics to the south, completely unclaimed. Despite the fact that Lash had most of the map control for himself for almost the entire game, actually.
Still, there's not going to be a bombard right now for a while, as Lash, just before leveling up, used the ability to call the units. So he's not going to be able to immediately get that bombard going. Still, though...
Might come in too late, though. DeMu is going up to Imperial.
Oh. And it's going to be tough.
He's doing so with the Barkshire Palace. A dangerous position to build it at, but I don't think that Lash has the army to stop it with.
Yeah, doesn't have the army indeed. Now Jeanne, she gets a powerful melee attack here, able to bust through these walls in just a couple of seconds. But still, the army from DeMu, it's just too many units here right now. Lash once again rebuilding his forces. Right now, army value. Firm lead for DeMu. 36 crossbowmen out.
Yeah, the Barkshire Palace will complete. This gives him so many options. Not just the military attacks, but most importantly, the fact that his farms will begin to produce passive gold income is immensely valuable given how cornered DeMu is and how deprived he is from gold.
Same time, Lash once again goes for some aggression here. DeMu, though, also trying to look for some raids.
Springolds are exposed.
Villagers getting sniped. Jeanne coming in, doing a good amount of melee damage.
Oh my lord.
The villager is not reacting yet. That's a ton of villager deaths.
That's a lot. Lash is down to 67 eco compared to 97. Not reacting to his villagers being butchered. And he was without cantled saddles in this entire time.
Oh no.
My word. I feel like Lash has been doing a lot of things right in this game, but small pieces are missing. And those might be his undoing now that his opponent is up in Imperial.
Yeah, this is going to be very tough now for him to come back. He's getting a lot of food income right now. Could be looking for Imperial himself, but he just lost all of his villagers that he had on gold. With that, Imperial looks to be far away from him right now. Trying to go for some raids now on the economy from DeMu. He doesn't even know, probably. No, he does know that DeMu is on 3 TCs. He's going for some good battles here. Taking a lot of these units down. Elite crossbowman has come in the meantime for DeMu, though. And with that attack speed, he's going to be able to take these knights down really, really quickly.
Lash is cornered. He cannot flee from this position, and he could actually end up losing Jeanne in this corner.
That you don't want to lose Jeanne once she reaches level 4. Once she reaches level 4, it's going to take 1,000 gold to get her back out on the field, and Lash does not have that kind of gold lying around right now.
He's trying to bail potentially, but knights have to be sacrificed for this. Looks like Jeanne gets away here, but all the archers will be sacrificed for this. Lash is down to 99 population against 150 from DeMu. And DeMu, once again, holds firm against a relentless land-based attack, just like in the previous game.
And feels like now, it's just going to be a matter of time once again. DeMu now able to move out with all of his Imperial Age upgrades. Units are being rebuilt right now, but Lash, he's lacking the gold right now. He could be going up with the Red Palace. Red Palace could definitely buy him some time here. But I'm looking at the food economy from Lash, and it is very exposed, very much in the middle of the map, all of those farms without anything right now protecting them. And DeMu's also walking towards the gold expansion now from Lash.
Yeah, that is scary. Lash just doesn't have the raw numbers at this point. In fact, DeMu is going to claim this gold mine for himself. Flaming arrows on the way for him. He's still making a lot of blacksmith upgrades, courtesy of the fact that he is just so deprived of gold. But Lash needs a little bit more time to get to Imperial. He is at 11 knights right now, 21 archers, against a lot of crossbows on the other side.
Yeah. Now Jeanne, with level 4, being able to produce both a cannon and was it 3 or 4 of these? I think it was 3 of these men-at-arms, Jeanne champions. Basically, with a 4-minute cooldown, it's pretty much equivalent to like 300 resource per minute worth of units that you're getting from that ability. So you're still getting like a lot of value out of her. And now we see the Red Palace coming in. Now we've seen it time and time again, a comeback potential with the Red Palace just being a very, very strong landmark. If you now go into like kind of TC spam, your TC kind of act like pseudo keeps with the bonus Red Palace emplacement. You can secure map control with them and kind of reboom into the game. It's going to be very difficult though, because DeMu, he's already on 3,000 food per minute. He's got a very strong economy. And he's definitely going to be the kind of player to know how to deal with the Red Palace in late game.
Yeah, this is a very open map as well. DeMu has a lot of food and wood, not so much gold. So it's very realistic for him to maybe play heavy into Horseman and just keep raiding, making sure that his opponent isn't allowed to boom back. Nice little fight here for Lash, catching this little raiding party off guard. DeMu trying to just regroup in the middle. Springles might get an angle on those siege weapons. Bit of a miss micro there by Lash, running into the Springles with the Mangonel and the cannon. But at least he does get a decent Mangonel shot on those crossbows. Lash trying to force this fight once again. No network of Castles Aura for DeMu in this engagement.
Indeed, Jeanne, she's getting a lot of value in here, though, in these fights, with that melee AoE attack, taking down a lot of these units. Now she's going to be singled out. Lots of these crossbowmen still are going to be able to do a lot of damage onto her, and now she's counting as a siege unit. These Spriggles, they're doing bonus damage to her. And with that, Lash not having any more units right now, he's going to call GG. And with that, DeMu is going to be able to win the set.
It looked to be an Agincourt for some time. It ended up being a Waterloo, you feel.